And Ronnie Olson, head coach of the Shady Spring Tigers. Big week for the Tigers, starting defense of their state championship run last year. And Ron, it's no secret that defense is what got you to the point you're at right now. And you told me preseason, and I remember you as a player during your high school career, but you were not really a disciple of defense back in those days.
No, we were an offensive team, and there's different views and strategies and coaching ways but I was an offensive guy, shot the ball from anywhere on the floor, and growing up, I was, really defense wasn't my concern. Putting the ball in the hole was.
But yet you are the architect of one of the better, if not the best, defensive team in the state of West Virginia. When did that and I know you played at Woodrow, which is known for its defense, but when did the transformation for you come to defense being, really, that's what this team is known for? And when did that transformation occur for you?
I just think in college, just because you can score doesn't mean you can play. And realizing that you're going to have to defend on both sides of the floor to get in the game. I knew I had to play better defense if I wanted to, even when I was a freshman, I was able to, score a lot my freshman year in the West Virginia Conference. And I was limited because I could only do one thing, and that was offense. And I've always known, and I know the key to any sport is defense. And I just feel like you can dictate one thing or the other, and that's the defensive end. And you always can control yourself. I want to be in control as much as I can. The one thing I feel you can be in control of is your effort, your intensity, and the way that you play defense. So as a coach, as a player, I want to be in control of as much as we can. And it happened in college, and that's a lot of my philosophy.
Was it, and you came, when you were hired, I remember I interviewed you on a radio show. First thing you started talking about was defense.
Remember that interview?
How long did it take you to get guys maybe that didn't come up on that? And I know that the Chapman brothers did because of their dad, but other guys, and they weren't here obviously, but how long did it get the guys you had then to buy in to understand that if you're going to be on the court, you're going to play defense?
I had the luxury of a lot of those. Actually, majority of them played for me in middle school. So they kind of translated from the middle school to the high school. We had 1 year off there where I was assistant coach, but they pretty much already knew the expectations, and my philosophy was, you've got to be able to defend to play in our system. Some were better than others. That's just in anything, and I think we've always had the buy-in on defense. I think if you can go back statistically, you can look at some of the better teams we had defensively. Some of my first years, we just happened to be in, AAA, which is Quad A now, and you're playing against Martinsburg and some of the great, Woodrow, Greenbrier East teams, South Charleston, those teams with Brandon Napper and some of those great players. We were just a little outmanned. But we've been able to build a strong program here, and all those guys that know me, that have played for me, I love them, and they know defense is first. I think it was an easy transition because we came from the middle school to the high school together.
And all your guys now say that that's where they started understanding in middle school.
Yeah.
That they were going to, and you guys run everything that you run here is run in the middle, in the feeder programs. That has to be a big help too. But it's not like that everywhere.
Yeah, it's not. Obviously Sean Radford, he's the defensive coach. I know we went over this before. Obviously at the middle school and even at the college level, you're going to move up different things. Their base defense is some of the same things we do. We do things differently because obviously it's a little more detailed and it's at a faster pace. It's just like if you go to college and you play man, it's going to be a little different.
Principles are the same.
The principles are the same, and luckily they were taught that, and I don't have to waste a year of instilling that, and so we can just move on with the detailed part of the way that I play defense. And we have a variation of different defenses. We have more than just one of man defense, and that's just a staple of our program. And when the kids buy in, they think it's cool. It's pretty easy to sell.
You had several gurus defensively, I guess, coming up. Who were some of the? I know that coaches all want to do their own thing. I'm sure that everything you do is parts of places you've been, or guys you study. Who are some of the guys that you took some of the stuff you do?
We could start locally, which Coach Barksdale was a really good defensive coach. He was one I took some of the base foundations from. He's kind of like, I kind of am like him as hard work and instilling defense first and tradition, things like that. But one that I look at a lot, growing up. When I was young, I started coaching when I was 17, 18, even when I was in college, I was coaching travel teams. It was something I've always wanted to do. But John Calipari, he's, to me, one of the most hated, underrated defensive coaches there is around. I think that, he gets a bad rap because he has some of the best players in the country. And you can kind of look at our team. We have some of the best players in the state. And it's not always easy to coach the best players. But if you look at their teams, they always play some of the best defense. And if you really look at the way their style is, they're just in you. They pressure. They rarely make mistakes on defense. And he's just one of the defensive architects that I really like. And also Coach Huggins. I like, his style, Press Virginia. That's, something that I like. The principles of our run and jump is something that we can't do it at the speed as they do, but that's something that the style that we like to play as well. But those are just three of the guys that me personally defensively that I look up to, and I try to take a little bit from them, and then I have some things that I've made up on my own that I feel that are kind of self-made and things that we run on our own.
How many different defenses can you run?
Man defenses, we usually run about 4. I don't want to get too much into detail of those, but it's something that you just can't. It's something that you have to have buy-in. But we're our main defense is our man-to-man defense. But we have a bunch that we run. But we have about 4 of them.
And I asked the guys this, and you got a lot of good defenders because they buy in.
Yeah.
Who would you say is the top defender on this team?
It's kind of like what's your favorite pair of shoes, what's your favorite pair of jeans, what's your favorite shirt, because Cole is our best ball defender. I don't even think it's close. Cole can guard the ball 90 feet up and down all the time. Braden has done a way better job of that recently. Cole's our best ball defender. Jaden is our best. He switches. He can guard every position, and he's great at rotations. And Braden is the best at stopping slashers, and getting steals and being in the passing lane. So you put all those guys together. Those guys are the 3 that make us go on defense. Amar has the capability now to be one of the best defenders. He's long. He's rangy. He's just still trying to learn the gifts that he has, and once he starts utilizing them, he's going to be really special. And then, Sam is another one coming off the bench. They all know. It's like everybody knows their roles on offense, but we know our roles on defense. Sam's a great ball defender. He can pressure the ball. I mean, he's one of our best defenders as well, and he comes off the bench. And then you got Cam. He is great on the ball, and he rebounds well out of the defense. So, all those guys you can't have a great defensive team with just 1 or 2 guys. All of them play defense, but those are their strengths. One of what you talk about shooting and passing, but those are their strengths. On-ball defense, Sam and Cole. Slashers, Braden, switching and running the floor defensively is Jaden, and then you got Cam guarding the ball. Those are all their strengths.
4 guys I talked to. Cole got 3 votes. Braden got 1, and you can guess who gave Braden his vote.
Yeah, I can.
Braden.
Yeah, Braden. He's definitely not going to shy away from himself for sure. But and that kind of speaks for how I feel. I don't think that I think outside of what our guys think outside of. What I believe, they believe. What they believe, I believe. So if I see one thing and I think, hey, they have no problem saying, hey, we got to put Cole on the best defender, or hey, we got to get the ball to Jaden. These guys are so unselfish on both sides of the floor that they're pretty much in unison on everything they do. You can interview them, you can ask them, and they usually will give you the same answer, and usually the same.
Well, it
as
always starts with defense too. I mean, it's almost. I don't want to say they don't like offense because everybody likes to score. And Braden's 1,000-point scorer. Cole will be.
Yep.
You got guys who can fill it up. Mar, 45 threes, nobody's even talking about.
Unbelievable.
But I don't want to say you guys don't like offense, but is it to you? Is that a source of pride that your guys talk about defense first?
It makes me. It warms my heart. It makes me feel proud. It really does. I mean, it does. When I see them in the interviews and they talk about it. And I just think they see the fruits of their labor, and that's winning a state championship. And the way that we've, you can look over the past 3 years, we're probably 60-5, 60-6 in the last 3 years in the state of West Virginia. That's unheard of, So I think it has staying power. I think it means something, and I think they take it serious. So to hear them talk about it and embrace it and want it and realize that there's one way we can bring a state championship home without shooting 60% from the three-point line and missing a bunch of layups, we can still get by with it, is playing defense.
I think Braden Chapman, by everyone, would probably be considered your top player, although your guys are close.
Yeah.
When you hear that your top player is at the middle school games or practices, whatever, telling these young guys, look, you're going to have to flip the switch on defense when you get here. What's that mean to you?
I mean, they're just a great example for our kids over at the middle school and elementary school because they look up to them. And there's a difference between saying the right thing and meaning what you say when you're right. And Braden and Cole, when they say things, and Jaden and Cam, they mean those things. And that when they're talking to kids, they literally embrace how they're looked up to in this community. And I just think that with everything going on in the world, I think what we have here is so special with the elementary schools and the middle schools, the way that they look up to these guys and the way that they embrace them. I mean, they'll be on their best behavior when those kids are around. You know, I just think it's awesome when they're talking about what's important to them, and it's easy because then they're going to come up and believe it, and then when they come in, we're just going to keep rolling.
Defense wins championships, huh?
Absolutely. Defense wins championships, hopefully too.
All right, Ronnie, I appreciate it.
Thank you,
man.